Namaskar, everyone. I welcome you all on the another episode of India-Ireland Friendship Lecture Series. It is my privilege to introduce and welcome Ms. Manjari Wade, who is a renowned painter artist. Ms. Manjari today will share her thoughts on the topic, a woman artist in India, a journey and uniqueness of social media in our times. Ms. Manjari studied commercial art from Sophia Polytechnic, Breach Candy in Mumbai. She draws inspiration from everything around her, be it people, birds, trees, energies, yoga, anything that is beautiful, ugly, loud, or quiet. And as is the variety of her inspiration, she paints in various mediums like acrylic, oils, watercolors, charcoal, and inks, and on canvas, paper, wood, walls, and more. Her genres include divinities, which consist of figurative works of Shiv Shakti, the male female yin yang. He has participated in art shows and has had solo exhibition in Mumbai, Pune, Ahmedabad, Chennai, Jaipur, Detroit, and San Diego. He also participated in the first India Art Fair, Mumbai, the Jaipur Art Festivals, and the Index Trade Fair's first ever art enclave. He was the part of a residency for the Jaipur Kala Chopal on the theme of water, along with 42 international artists. She is the owner of Om Chakra, a design studio that creates a mixed genre of paintings, lifestyles, objects, designer wear, and more. She is the creator of a font, Om Akshar, which presents the Sanskrit language in the Roman English font. He has an apparel line under the name of Samanjri. She has recently been awarded the Pride of Goa Award. She is a proud grandmother of 3, and age has not been a bar for her. She continues to be the star of her own life. Before we invite Ms. Manjari to present her talk, I would request His Excellency, the Ambassador of India, to kindly give his introductory remarks.
Namaskar, my warm greetings to all friends who are connected with this program. Very warm welcome. On behalf of Indian Embassy, I once again extend a very warm welcome to Manjari ji to share her thoughts. We have launched this scheme, India-Ireland Friendship Lecture Series, to facilitate broader connectivity between people of India and people of Ireland in different areas. And I'm very happy to share that on the economic and trade front and education front, there's a very vibrant, growing relationship. We have close to now about 60,000 or so strong Indian diaspora, mainly in technology sectors and also in healthcare. And also in education, we are getting large number of Indian students to come and study in Ireland. The two-way flows in trade and investment and people-to-people business ties, they are growing. But one area I think there is a huge amount of untapped potential is creative industries. India is so rich and its diversity is incredible in all art forms. Similarly, Ireland, despite being a small country, just about 5 million people, is a real kind of mini superpower in soft power. With just 5 million population, Ireland has produced 4 Nobel laureates in literature. And also in creative industries like entertainment and film, painting, literature, poetry, song and dance. Ireland has a very oversized, very impressive footprint globally. And also many Irish poets and artists are doing extremely well, but they are very shy, like they are not very aggressive in branding. So I'm afraid that in India, the awareness about art and culture seen in Ireland is very limited. And that is why, and same happens with the Irish creative circles, knowledge about Indian current trends is also quite limited. So we thought that having an online platform would be the easiest and lowest cost in way to connect artists and other thinkers, thought leaders from India and Ireland. So under this lecture series initiative, we are hosting very renowned Irish dignitaries who are doing excellent work on themes of their choice. Similarly, we are very privileged to invite dignitaries from Indian side to share their inspiring life story. The idea is that this initial contact will lead to more people-to-people collaborations. And I'm very convinced that given the richness and diversity of Indian art scene, and the range that India offers from tribal to folk to urban art and all forms of electronic as well as TV, the kind of entertainment platforms, and as Manjari will talk about, the social media itself becomes a very important platform. Similarly, Ireland's very unique, beautiful setting. It's naturally like picturesque, naturally a setting which inspires poetry, can also be mutually beneficial for our two countries to connect and co-create, jointly produce something extremely new. So I'm very delighted to welcome you, Manjari ji. You are a like pioneer in your niche area that you have chosen, and your genius is very well admired in India and also in many countries. My wife and I are great admirers of your work. So it's a privilege to welcome you. Thank you, please.
Thank you. Oh dear. Thank you so much. Wonderful words from you, and I hope that I can speak up to them. So the thing is that I'm not a very vocal person. My father was in the performance arts, but I chose to paint so that I could only speak to the canvas. So that was what I began. But I go further. I wanted to start with something very personal. I have the greatest of regard for the country of Ireland. For me, the connection is Cork, the Kanishka air tragedy. I lost my brother, Bhabhi, and baby boy in that crash. But I cannot tell you how the government of Ireland stood up to that horrific event, the kind of support that they gave us, the kind of immediacy with which they responded, because this was a global tragedy, of course, and everything that we received from them in terms of, I won't elaborate, but as a government, they were so warm, so efficient, and yet so affectionate that today my first thought when Riti said, we're doing this from Ireland, there was no question of saying no, because that is always. I was young, my brother was young, but I tell you, to the country, this is also my chance to say thank you. It's a wonderful country, and their response was so heartwarming. So I hope to come to Cork one day and see the memorial. I believe it is beautiful. The country is beautiful. And as you rightly said, art in Ireland is lovely. The poems, the music, the land itself. You have a plethora of talent already in your country. You know, it's just wonderful. It's beautiful. So as I said, I'll go back. I wanted to paint. I was not very sure of doing the performing arts because I felt that was too much for me to stand in front of an audience and do. I did do immediately after school. I did theater for about 4 years. I went to East Africa with some plays in my summer holidays. I was only 16, but it was very, very lovely. But after that, I stuck to painting, and that's what I did. Then, of course, I got married and I had children. So I couldn't practice my art that much. But it's always there. I used to do smaller things. But then life changes and things happen and fate, of course. So at one point, I found myself alone. And that's when I really started painting. I used to paint a lot. I do canvases. I used to do acrylic on canvases. At that time, I did not do watercolor so much. I had a chance because my sister had moved to the US and my brother-in-law had said, why don't you come and live here? So I went and stayed for the first 3 months to see how it felt over there. What I found is that the Americans, just like people in Ireland, are very artistic, and they were very drawn to our country's heritage, our spirituality, our mantras, our shlokas. So I wanted to do something where they could also relate to what we have to offer. I came back, I went to this wonderful teacher called Achyut Pallav. He's a calligraphic master in the city of Mumbai. He has classes which are truly amazing. I went to him for a month to learn the basics of calligraphy. Calligraphy with him starts with a tender bamboo shoot. That bamboo reed is what you sharpen, you dip into ink, and you start to write strokes. The first thing you do for the first 10 days is strokes. You just learn how to use that pen. And it's wonderful because the grounding is so firm and so perfect. Then the idea for me was I wanted to write the shlokas in English, which anyone could do. You have so many calligraphic alphabets around the world today, but I wanted it to look like Sanskrit also. So I invented a script. I call it the Om Akshar, because honestly and truly, I'm very proud of India and what we have. So to give Om to the world, to give our shlokas and mantras to the world, I wrote the script. I mean, I am not going to show you anything today because I think it's all there on my Facebook, on my Instagram. Everything is available. So the script which I have devised is written and reads in English, but it has very distinct characteristics of Sanskrit. It has the kanas, the matras, the strokes, the pull-out lines, and then of course I elaborate and I go all over. So at one point I started writing on my paintings, and I found that to write words of wisdom was something I truly enjoyed. I used to take poets from across the world. I used to take Walt Whitman from USA. I used to take all the romantics from your continent, from the country. I used to take Rumi and Khalil Gibran, who are such deep, such profoundly spiritual writers. I was just amazed with the kind of words that they had written, and I would incorporate them. I used to write Rabindranath Tagore on my poem. He has won the Nobel Prize for Gitanjali. If you sit with that book, the Gitanjali, it is marvelous. It is just marvelous. You have to read it 3-4 times to fully understand and grasp what he went through when he wrote that book. But I guess if you're a little bit of an artistic person, you could. And I think that's how it worked very well for me. So I used to do a lot of work, and I used to paint, and it was truly something that I was born for and born to. Other than the performance art, he performed all his life, and I painted. Then the pandemic hit us, 2019, and I was in Mumbai. I have a small little house off Mumbai in a place called Alibag. And my son calls me and he says that there's going to be an announcement this Sunday. So you should come back and not stay there alone. So I was back in Bombay. And of course, we all know what happened that fateful day in March when the lockdown was announced, and everything in Mumbai stopped. You could not step out. For 3 months, we did not enter our elevators. The children, we would quietly take them to the terrace once in 15 days. 2 little children to be taken up. Luckily, my daughter was not there. She was not in Mumbai at that point of time. So it became a very, very difficult situation for everybody. And we were a little bit worried as to how things are going to turn out. I could not, of course, paint at all. I could not do anything. And some of our, the help in the family could not even come to us. Now, I'm a Gujarati, which means that from the age of 13, my mother taught me to cook. We were not spared. We were 3 girls, of course, with my brother, but all the 3 girls had to cook. And I am the eldest in the family. So from the age of 13, I used to cook. And even after marriage, I used to cook. I used to enjoy cooking. And that was part of my daily thing. Cook, feed the family. I'm a very family person. So I said, I will take up 1 meal a day. I will cook because the person who lived in with us could do the other meal. So obviously we all had to rally around and do everything that we had to do together. So this is what happened is that my mother is a Jain from Saurashtra, Amreli. And in Jains, they don't eat leftover food. If anything is left over in the night, it is given away. Or there is one trick, it is transformed. If there is rice which is left over, what they do is they put a little curd, a little dahi into it and then put it. So technically that dish has been transformed. It's no more just rice. So you can eat it the next day. So we used to either make lovely little bhajiyas of it, or we would make like a paratha, a roti. You put wheat flour into that dahi thing, you put a little masala, a little onion. So I was telling my daughter, okay, there's leftover dahi, let me make this for breakfast. And like we were all stuck in the house, right? So she said, do you mind if I just film you doing this? I had no issues with the camera. I'm quite okay with the camera being on me. It's just that who's behind the camera is what I worry about. And since it was her, I said, all right, go ahead. So that's what she did. So she filmed me making that. And I told her, come on, help me cut some onions. And honestly, she cut it so badly. So there was already a kind of a banter happening. I'm saying, I cannot use these onions. They're horrible. Poor thing. Anyway, so that was the first video that she put out. Now, in those times when even food supplies were a little less, you couldn't go shopping all the time. Things were being delivered to the house once a week. So this, for some strange reason, the video of the rice rotla went viral. People loved it because it gave them an option. It gave them an option that, chalo, something is left over, this is how you use it. And honestly, it turns out really delicious. So that was the first video. After that, there was J-Lo, not Lawrence. J-Lo and Ben Affleck had done some video. And it was like just switching. It was called switching parts. So first one is doing a dance, then the other is doing the same thing. So she showed it to my son. My son is shyer than me, if that's so possible. So he said, I'm not doing anything like this. So she showed it to me. In fact, her mother told her, why don't you ask your mother-in-law? She's a bit of a sport. So she asked me. I looked at it and it looked nice. It was thin. I, of course, have no clue of what the impact of something would be. But my daughter-in-law does. She's amazing at this. She said, let's just do this. That was the second video we made. And honestly, that won some rave reviews. Amazing. Now, the only thing I can say is, I'm happy that I have a sense of humor. I'm happy that I don't get offended by anything. And so I think now here we are, these many years later, and we have been consistently doing something. In fact, something that we put up last week, I think it's got about 15 million views. I don't even understand what that means. It's not something, if I like the idea, I just say yes. I think a major part of my life has been say yes to things. Say yes. Why would you not say yes? So there's a trajectory that we all follow. I have my house. I'm very lucky that my daughter is also in Goa. We are in Goa. So I have all the 3 grandchildren with me. I jump between the 2 houses. So life, after whatever bit of issues that I had, I've been single for very many years now. But you do your things quietly and slowly. You do things with a little faith in the universe. You say that I'm willing to go where it goes. I think that has stood me in a good place. And I think, so then if I relate this to women artists and their journeys in India, I think women are doing very well. Women artists in India are respected, followed. They sell extremely well. And in fact, we have a lot of curators or gallery owners who are women, who completely understand what it is to be a woman and yet paint and to take things further. So also I was born in Mumbai. Now Mumbai is a bustling city, amazing energy. It gives back much more than it takes from you. So living in Mumbai, you are just automatically labeled as progressive. I was born in a suburb called Bandra, which when I was small was a beautifully inclusive suburb. We had the best people around. Everybody was creative. And even I think it was a mini Goa, and that's why we're in Goa now. But it was a beautiful little suburb. Our schools, I went to a convent school, the Jesuit nuns taught us everything. And we had amazing teachers. And though it was a very simple school, education was fabulous. So in that sense, Bombay has been a beautiful place to grow up in. So being a woman artist, I didn't want to study fine art. I wanted to do applied art. But having done applied art, I'm applying it back into the fine art category, but which is fine. You can do what you want. You've learned your colors, you've learned your composition. Then it only remains your skill. What is it that you do with your skill? And I think I've done well. I'm wearing something of mine. I did apparel for a while. I thought my son said, why don't you try? And we printed a few things and they turned out pretty decent. But that's a whole different business. If you want to do apparel, you can't do anything else. That's what I feel. So, and I wanted to paint more than anything else. So I don't think I did that. But social media today, here I am sitting with you. You are in the country of Ireland, on another continent, across seas. And you have discovered me, I have discovered you. This is the strength of social media. This is how people can come together. This is how we share what we have in our country with what you have in yours. And I honestly think there can be nothing better than this. This is the way to go forward. This is the way we all come together. We leave all negative thoughts and ideas behind. Because why would we? We live on one earth. We are working hard to bring climate change and everything back into its position. So I think we have to come together. People of the world have to come together, speak to each other, and find ways to share. And like you said, if we are sharing art, there is nothing better than that, because art is what brings a bit of spirituality to all of us. And I think it has to me. So here I am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. And like I said, I know most of my work is out there for everyone to see. So I didn't have to show. This is the Indian Mona Lisa. So my little granddaughter asked me, Nanette, is that you? I said, maybe. It's a parrot which converges into a lotus. And it's a beautiful woman wearing every color fabric on her. So this is the Indian Mona Lisa. And thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And I hope I spoke well. Like I said, this is not something I'm very familiar with. But the invitation was enticing and impossible to refuse. Like I said, one day I hope to be on your show.
Thank you,
Thank
Manjari. What you said touched my heart too, because I was Consul General in Toronto, and I actually worked.
Wow.
Yeah, and in fact, I knew many families
Yes.
in Canada who lost their family members, and we
Yes.
used to have annual memorial services.
Yes.
And also, I last year I went to the site of the memorial in Cork, and
God.
yeah, and the sentiment of the local people, the county there, it really brought tears in my eyes.
Yes.
That after so many years, the people there, I met some people who were actually involved in rescue operations, and how they like staked their own life
I agree.
to go into the water and
Yes.
find bodies and help.
Yes.
And
Yes.
also, I learned about like very touching stories of like extraordinary generosity of Irish people.
Oh,
Like
yes.
opening their homes for the people, relatives who landed
Yes.
in Cork, and their family members, their relatives, how were they taken care of? And the place where incident occurred is a small town.
Of course.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I've
the
heard.
generosity of the people of that area is like so touching.
Commendable. Commendable.
Yeah,
Truly.
and they owed nothing to the people.
Nothing at all.
Out of sheer humanity.
Yes.
Dignity.
Sure you are. Yes.
It's
Yes.
incredible. Like in 33 years, 34 years of my service, nothing touched me as the response of the people there. Just thinking about
Truly.
incredible. This is
Yes.
what makes Ireland so unique.
And Ireland is a small country. Like you said, it's small. But the people are just fabulous. Amazing.
Yes. And also, I was very like inspired by how people like you coped with the challenges of Corona. I have been meeting, I have been meeting many artists here, and their stories are also quite similar to yours. Like each one had a like unique challenge. Some of them are in relatively remote areas, and they had to confine themselves. And it is very interesting how each one responded differently.
Very true.
Each one had to adopt its own like unique innovations to do something meaningful.
I agree.
And also I learned that many artists did like changed the genre. They came up with something very different compared to what they were doing in the past, because things were not available. So they had to like transform, modify their thoughts.
Yes, so much.
Yeah, and one area which I find Ireland very inspiring is that there's a fusion of different forms of creativity.
Okay.
Like Irish people are naturally very musical, very poetic. Yeah, so I see like cross-cutting poetry between poetry and music and painting and art.
How nice.
Yeah, also the kind of fusion between the three-dimensional art and painting.
True, very true.
Yeah, very genius. And I have seen full collection of paintings based on poetry of Yeats or Heaney or dance poets.
Correct.
So also like how they create new pieces from textile or ceramic or glass. This is very creative. Like, they don't have very huge market, but each one is creating niche.
Yes, that is true.
And that is where I think there lies a very compelling logic for India and Ireland to connect, because what is happening in India is very different from what I see in Ireland.
Right.
So there's no threat to each other. There's a huge opportunity to dovetail for creativity and come up something extraordinary.
Yes.
So having a friend like you on board with India Ireland connectivity, it's a great privilege. And what I'm really looking in future is having a kind of informal network of friends of Ireland in
Yes.
India. And
Yes.
also having a similar informal network of friends of India in the artistic community in Ireland.
Definitely.
So
That would be wonderful. Yes.
If you can help, like identify
Yes.
people, like maybe 8-10 people like you in Mumbai and Goa.
Definitely.
Great
Definitely.
help.
For sure. Oh, yes.
Similarly,
yes.
we are in touch with some of the artists here based on the response we get from Indian side, and thanks to friends like you, then we can also expand the network here.
Yes.
And then to begin with, we can connect through social media.
Sure, sure.
I think as in US, they say networking.
Yes.
If we can have one virtual platform or Zoom, it's like a networking event over Zoom itself, where you
I
can
agree.
report your work briefly in 5 minutes. Somebody else can talk about his or her work in 4 or 5 minutes. Similarly, from Ireland side, also they can talk about what they are doing and get connected. This would be the first step. Second step would be actually people can start traveling and getting connected, working together.
Yes. Yes.
And also you refer to women art gallery owners.
Very much. Yes.
So again, it's be a great help if you can like identify some friendly and people who might be open to like looking at our land.
Of course.
So if you can put
I will
together
do so. 100%.
art gallery owners among your friends circle, and then I'll try to put a similar group together on our land side, and then we can connect and then see.
Yes. For sure.
One modality which I have found very effective is having residency programs.
Right.
Like an artist like you coming to our land and spending
some time. Yes.
Some time with local artists.
Yes.
Sharing ideas, learning from each other, and possibly while you are here, inspired by Irish themes, you create something and exhibit here, and then go back. Long-term relationships.
No. That would be memorable.
Having some Irish painter come to Goa, come to Mumbai, and spend some time, not away like a rushed parachute visit, and then come and show and go back, but connect with people.
Live and assimilate with the people. Yes.
So again, I was I was Director General of ICCR myself in Delhi. So I know how much potential we have in connecting in art and culture, and how ineffective our current engagement is.
Yes.
So I'm not keen at all on government.
No, but this is wonderful.
I'm interested in exploring people-to-people sustainable, self-sponsored.
I think that's always better. One-on-one works nicer. Yes.
So if you can help me,
definitely.
Friendship in Ireland.
No, definitely. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to everybody over there. And it's a wonderful country. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you so much. And we look forward to welcoming you sometime here, as I said, for some kind of residency event where you can spend time and learn and guide and mentor.
I would love to.
We also have a growing community of Indian artists in Ireland.
How lovely.
Big, but it's a small community, but it's a vibrant community.
Yes.
Talented artists. So I think that would also be very useful, like someone getting someone like you to come and share tips and mentor and see.
For sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjari. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.